a bunch of matches in the
Phineas Ellis.
It became the snare, essentially, for this song of Billy's called Watch.
Since home studio.
The hook is like, I'll sit and watch your car burn. And so there are all these references to like starting a fire. And so I was like, well, let me try like starting some matches or whatever. And it's like a more inventive way to use a sound than to just be like, yeah, we're going to start with like sound of the waves rolling in or something, you know? Mm-hmm.
What do you want from me? Why don't you
The most pivotal creative decision we made when we were working on When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go, was the tonal structure of everything shifted from where we had been thus far into a kind of a more violent space. It's like all of the percussion is very afraid.
Harmonics and harmonics makes the beautiful blend.
All of the super blown out distorted vocals.
My limbs are frozen, my eyes won't close, and I can't say
the crazy like alarm sound at the end of that song. They're all sounds that are like kind of jarring, kind of unpleasant, a little bit ominous.
Tell me, love is endless, don't be.
There's like a really intense like bass drops in the middle of the song Listen that I think like is so at odds with everything else about the song Listen, because that song is just really pretty. And there's this crazy distorted bass that I played on a thing called a seaboard.
So that sounds from a seaboard.
I think that was probably the biggest shift
in the studio.
From wherever we had been before, was these really dark textures and dark sounds.
It's not true. Tell me I've been.
I Love You was another song that was written prior to being recorded. So the whole second verse of that song is about sitting on the tarmac on a plane.
So it's in a plane tarmac.
Press like the button on the roof of the airplane to like summon flight attendant, and it goes like.
No,
I took
it's
that
the
and
palette
I pitch shifted it into like all of the different chords in the second verse, so it followed every chord.
You have a little bit.
On another red eye. So you're a tough guy, and I can't leave you.
That guy, he's going to tell how he did that one, or what their ideas were.
The sort of greatest challenge of that song was not overthinking it. I did overthink it, and then just had to remove everything I overthought about it. I thought I was like blowing it by having like an instrumental post-chorus like that. Billy had written all of the lyrics for the outro of the song, and I loved it immediately. She was recording it all in her bedroom. She had her two Yamaha HS5s and an HS8S sub on shelves, and they were just rattling like the entire room, and so they sounded really like insane.
I like when you get mad. I guess I'm pretty glad that you're alone.
One of the issues with like overload protection is when you bounce something that way, it loses a lot of its like fuzz. And
so bouncing is multiple tracks into a single audio file.
They didn't have that like emotion to them, that just like angry quality. And so then I put headphones on and just abused the sounds until they sounded really aggressive. And the breakthrough was understanding eventually that the two different parts of the songs could be smashed together, and they would make it way cooler.
Harmonics and love is when you get that sound and you mix it. If it's a good singer, you blend the sound.
We knew that we wanted it to be almost entirely vocal. Another instrument doesn't come in on that song until like a minute. Doesn't come in until like the first chorus, and it's just a sub bass.
Rest in peace, Chris Mulvaney, vocal coach.
It's like 3 instruments. It's just vocals, sub bass, and acoustic piano. Those are the only 3 instruments that song. So making it interesting every measure was super challenging. I don't have a final count on the vocal tracks, but probably around 100. There were like stacks of each layer of each harmony part.
Layering is when several sounds are stacked upon each other to make the song richer.
Billy 120 to 135.
To create a new sound.
Negative 135.
So it's 3 or 4 of her vocals put on one track to make harmony. That's her voice.
That was another like song we worked on for weeks and weeks.
I've been watching you for some time.
The first song that we ever had that got any attention from anybody was a song called Ocean Eyes. Billy was really, really particular about how she wanted her voice to sound on it. There's so many harmonies on that song, and so many doubles, and there's so many layers of background vocals.
So that's why it's hard. It's layering her voice over and over different ways to make harmonics.
Normally, you can knock out an entire song's worth of vocals in like 6 hours. I think we recorded vocals for something like 7 days on that song. I thought she sounded great the whole time. She just was like, I know exactly how I want this line to sound. And she would stop until she got it to sound exactly how she wanted it. That was really early on in our career, and I think predominantly we were pulling from references of artists like Aurora, artists like Lapsley, maybe a little bit of Lana Del Rey. Although I don't think we even held a candle to Lana with that song, production-wise anyway. Held a candle to Lana with that song, production.
Part 3 is how she did Lovely, Bad Guys, and how she used vocal layering with her brother to make that sound come out. Billy and Phineas said her voice is very simple. Sometimes she uses auto-tune to create vibes to make her voice sound the way it does, but it's a totally different production set. But they do a lot of in-studio work in their house. It's like 2-bedroom. Actually, he said that they have just 1 bedroom, and sometimes they are in the front living room, but they have a very, very, very small production studio. They use a lot of instruments, like you see he has an Apple and a lot of audio, organ and other instruments to create their sound out of their home. So we're going to look at part 3, and Billy's going to talk about how she did Bad Guy. And she says that's not her at all. She said she's not a bad girl. But anyway, we'll hear from her now. Thank you for listening. It's how to produce music the way that some of the newest producers are doing it, out of their home, using different instruments, using computers and that kind of thing. So thank you for listening, Clarice Starfire.
That was amazing.
Let's keep looking and helping each other with music and different approaches.
Absolutely.
Have a very positive day. Keep creating, keep singing. And Phineas Ellish, look for his album. It's out too. It's very pretty. Look for a CD. Look for a CD that's out, an LP that he has out. Look on YouTube for Phineas Ellish. His music is out too, and it's very pretty. I'll be singing some of his pretty soon.